When a horse first arrives at the MSSPA, we do what's called an intake, where we assess the health of the horse. And one of the more important parts of that intake is the body condition score. We actually look at several areas of the horse to determine a score. The score actually came out of Texas A&M University in the 1980s to try to give law enforcement and shelters and horse owners an objective look at what their horse's weight looks like, whether it's thin, which is down at the one side of the Henneke scale. Moderate horses are 4, 5s, and 6s, and we go up to 9, which is obese. And of course, unfortunately, many times here we're dealing with lower numbers. So there's 6 primary areas we look at on the horse when we're assessing their condition. That's the term we use, whether they're thin or overweight. And we start with the neck, and we're looking at basically areas where bony prominences could be observed. We've got bones here that are palpable. In the 1s and 2s, we see very easy definition of the bone here. The next area we assess are the withers right here. These are thoracic vertebrae that are above the shoulder blades. And in a thin horse, these would be very pronounced. You can actually see each individual one. After we look at the withers, which can be very prominent in the lower number horses, we will look at the lumbar spine, or the loin of the horse, it's called. And again, we're looking for definition of these lumbar vertebral bodies. And then the next area we look at is the tail head. And so heavyweight horses will actually have a crease in here. Thinner horses, we can actually feel some of the bones of the back part of the pelvis. And then the 5th area we look at, we actually come up here to the shoulder, and we're looking at the scapula and looking for any bony prominences of the scapula. And then we follow that with the rib cage. This is Creek, and Creek is sitting today at probably what I would call about a 6 on the Henneke scale. And we see no definition, no bony definition in the neck. The withers are well covered, right? There's no individuality of the withers. We have a nice covering over the lumbar spine. Tailhead is really ideal. And as you can see for this guy, we really don't see or feel any ribs. When I'm looking at horses in the backyard, I like to see some nice cover over the ribs here, maybe a little bit less cover here. But this is a nice 6. Creek looks like a nice healthy weight. Typically at the MSSPA on our intakes, we will see some of the lower numbers, not so many 1s, but some 2s, 3s, and 4s. These are horses that are evidencing their thinness, obviously through more definition of the bones of the neck. Really can see it in the withers. And it's just a 2 and a 3 are bony looking horses, and that's probably the best way to describe that. So we actually use very specific feed guidelines on those guys to get them slowly up to the next level, then the next level. Everybody, we're always shooting for a 5. But horses that are overweight, and this is probably something we see more with our backyard horses rather than horses that are coming into rescues or societies, and that would be the Henneke 7s, 8s, and even 9s. When we get up to the 8 and 9, we're talking about obese horses, which presents their own health issues. Issues with potential laminitis and other metabolic diseases that could be associated with that being overweight. That's why we're always shooting for that 5. So our nice patient model here, Creek, he came into the facility at about a 4, and so we really didn't have to work too hard to get him to where he is today, this is a really nice weight for him.